All right, welcome to another episode of the Hyperformance podcast, joined as always by Harvey and Jacob, my co-hosts. No guests today, just a solo-ep with the boys. Well, not really a solo-ep, but we thought that we should do a bit of a 2023 wrap-up and then chat about some of the goals for the upcoming season as well.
So, how was everyone's New Year's Eve? What did we get up to?
Pretty quiet. Just went to a house party with the boys. Not looking to go too wild just because got a lot of work on at the moment. Was trying to finish the year strong. Well, and the overlapping period as well. Not only close out 2023 strong, but then hit the ground running in 2024. So still spent all of January first in bed hungover, but I did get my clients' programs updated. It was for any online trainers who leave all their programs to be updated on a Sunday, this holiday period, they have all absolutely been feeling it with both Christmas Day and New Year's Day falling on the Monday.
Damn, double whammy.
Condolences to the online coaches out there. Like, in theory, you should be updating your programs throughout the week, but we don't always do that. But it was good. So got Bali, leaving for Bali. Well, I'll already be in Bali by the time this is out. Hell, we've got so many episodes banked. I might be back from Bali by the time this comes out. But yeah, it was pretty much not too much of a rager. Harvey gave me a lift home after playing his gig. How was the New Year's gig, Harvey, playing at the RSL?
Oh man, it was, you know what? It was even more dead than I expected. And that's not a bad thing. Like,
yeah, because you would think most places pump on New Year's. I would have thought RSL would have a few families down there.
Yeah, well, I've done it there before. And on New Year's Eve, and it's like, you know, there's usually some people there. Like, it's never what I would call busy by any stretch, but there's, you know, some people. But like, it was crazy. Like, there's these two people that often like rock up there to watch whoever's playing, and they came for a little bit, but they're there every week, whether it's, you know, fucking New Year's Eve or middle of the year or whatever. And then they left, and then these two other people rocked. I was literally playing to two people for like most of the night. Like half the night I was the two people, the rest of the night it was me and the bar staff.
Did that affect your song choice for the New Year's countdown?
Not for the countdown as such, but like there's a little bit of like, you know, I wouldn't say I take the piss a bit, but I'm playing more for me at that stage, and there's less people there, you know? Like, I'm gonna really drag out sex.
Didn't your set finish at midnight?
Yeah, no, I stopped getting paid at midnight. Which, like,
you would think of all nights to just pay for someone for like an extra half hour. Or was it literally like, Happy New Year, everyone, get the fuck home?
Just unplug the amp.
That place normally on New Year's Eve books you. Like, they've done it before and they've booked me till like 11.
What?
And like everyone, like, you know, I say everyone.
But even that's different because you're leaving a bit of space for it to air out before the New Year's even come. You can just throw it over to the jukebox or something.
I can't decide what's better. Like, when they, like, you know, because people used to be like, oh, like, why are you stopping? I'm like, I stopped getting paid. And then even like the managers there would be like, why are you stopping? I'm like, oh, you stopped paying me. I'm not going to keep going. And then this time they booked me till 12. I was like, I don't know if that's better or worse. Because now it's like, Happy New Year. See you later.
I think in their head, they were probably booking you till 12:15, but they just didn't realize that they were dealing with such a businessman.
Man, who knows?
Did the promoter come out and be like, now I need to talk to musician Harvey, not businessman Harvey? Was there that at any point?
No, honestly, the manager there was like, he came up to me before I started, and he was like, hey man, what's going on? And I was like, oh yeah, you know, just doing my thing, blah blah. And he was like, you know, you've been here before? And I was like, oh yeah, I've played New Year's Eve before. And he's like, so you know what it'll be like, dead. And I was like, oh yeah. And even I said to him, I was like, you know, like, what do you guys think of a new year? Like, are you expecting me to do a countdown? And he was like, oh, you know, like, if you want to. And then he was like, no, actually, don't bother. He was like, I'm just going to put the TV on. We're going to have the fireworks on there. Like, you know, I wouldn't bother. Like, that's cool. Just play till 12 and then get out of here. And I was like, okay. Like,
it's pretty
cool.
sweet. Oh, Australian Sydney fireworks, pretty iconic, known around the world.
Yeah. Which also, I was thinking about this. Is that taxpayer money?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Hey, come on. You can't be against that. It's the arts.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Fireworks, guys. They're the arts.
I just had never thought about it because I was looking at it.
I mean, it's like big corporation arts.
Yeah, I just more was like, that seems like a lot of money.
I think multinational corporations deserve funding to participate in the arts too.
Did you guys see the couple that went on the raft, inflatable raft on the Opera House? and try to watch the fireworks there. And they did it. And everyone in the comments is like, you're so lucky there weren't, was it shark something? I don't know, some creature that would have pierced like the raft so easily.
Like there are bull sharks in
Bull
there.
sharks,
I'm
bull
pretty
sharks.
sure Australian Navy diver about 10 years ago when they were doing like practice minesweeping actually got taken by a bull shark. I would have been a bit nervous just because I would hate to find myself swimming in the middle of Sydney Harbour, but I'm confident I'd survive. But maybe like semi-traumatic experience, especially in the night, especially with other boats around who can't see you, having to do like this panic swim for the shoreline. And then there's only like very particular spots where you'd actually be able to climb back out of the water.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it's a little bit red hot.
I'd be more scared about the fucking diseases you get from swimming in there. Like,
No, it's fine. They've made a lot of efforts to clean up Sydney Harbour. Like, I believe
okay.
there is definitely a limit on the amount of fishes you should eat. I think you're only allowed to catch and eat one fish from the busier part of Sydney Harbour every year. I could be speaking completely out of turn here because actually recently I've been seeing heaps of fishing clips from Sydney Harbour on my Instagram Reels feed lately. Some guy just reeling in a giant flathead and stuff like that. But
oh, they swim around there? Jeez.
yeah, it's definitely like, it's good enough that like all the fish have come back and stuff like that. So, you know, good enough for the flathead, good enough for us.
Totally. I think I just like, without ever having thought about the fireworks before, because there's like, surely there's a big, like it's ticketed, right, to get in close.
I think a little bit, but it's like a festival scenario where they just open the gate and let everyone sprint over the top of each other like it's a Black Friday sale.
Oh, okay. Because I think I figured it would be like, it'd be more ticket sales that funded it than taxpayer money. But I think I was just thinking about it and I was like, nah, it's probably. Okay.
I know shit about the pricing of fireworks, or I don't know if it's like wedding fees, whether and all of a sudden price of fireworks like triple over New Year's Eve, or is it like competitive to try and get the contract?
I don't know. Like I just know that pyrotechnics are not cheap in any sense of the word. Like,
maybe this is a rabbit hole. We can do a Hyperformance podcast investigation piece.
Like,
and just ruin the Sydney fireworks for everyone.
Yeah, totally. Like even just like very briefly, and I'll probably beep out the name of this act because I probably shouldn't be talking about people's figures. But like, we played a festival with years ago. And again, don't know how legit this is, but I got told that for that one set, spent like 60K on
holy shit,
like production-y stuff.
Do you know what their fee is for playing?
Oh, it'd be fucking astronomical. It'd be insane. Like before I heard that, I would have said like at least 100 G's, at least. Like, you know, but like if you're spending 60K on production, then like
there's a profit, yeah.
Because I remember watching the Parkway Drive documentary, like the Where the Dogs or something like that, and I always had this idea in my head of just, you know, the level you needed to get to in terms of the size of the venues you play in to be profitable as a band and to be making like rock star money. But then something that I never accounted for is just how expensive production gets, especially when you're trying to do stadium shows and stuff like that. Sorry, Viva La Dogs, that's it. Because the whole premise of the documentary is Parkway Drive are trying to, you know, make themselves eligible to be headline festival caliber for these huge European festivals. But they're like, to prove that you can do it at that level of production, you should kind of be doing your own stadium shows. But for them even to pull off a stadium show, like Parkway Drive have been huge for years. And like they're in a niche genre, but they're like huge within that niche genre. And even people who don't listen to that music know Parkway Drive. So they're definitely standouts. But even they were having so much infighting as a band. They're like, you know, we worked so hard to get to this point as a band. How much further can we realistically go? And then we're like all of a sudden breaking even on our concerts again just to try to get more gigs down the line.
Yeah. No, it's fucking crazy. And like,
but then they're a band. Sorry to keep talking, but like obviously the essentials of it are just two of them and some decks. So I guess that frees up a little bit of money for the fireworks and stuff.
I mean, they play real instruments live as well. That's kind of like their thing. But they, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one because even when I say production, I don't think that includes like sound or anything. You know, like I'm pretty sure they spent like 60 grand on like lights and fireworks, or like just like, it might even have been just fireworks. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was something mega, or like confetti cannons and fucking like that kind of shit, you know?
Maybe there's not that many differences then in terms of touring expenses once you're at that level of production. It's like it's the production that's costing you the money and like all the extras, like the guy to actually run the lighting and sound and stuff like that. It's not so much about band members being your major expense anymore. Because on the come up, that's one of the most like brutal things.
Oh, totally. And especially as soon as the biggest kicker for me is like, even if you're like a huge band, right? So even if you're charging, like even if your standard fee for a festival or whatever is like, let's call it 100 G's for the sake of maths, right? As soon as you go, okay, so your agent's taking 20% minimum, like you're fucking, if your management take a cut, they're probably taking like 20% because they tend to take 20% of like everything you make. And then, I don't know, like even promoters.
Wait, so 40% is out the door?
Man, 40% is all like out the door before you, like as soon as the thing's fucking booked.
That's so hectic. Why are they getting so much for booking it? It's a nothing job. You send 2 emails. I know you probably don't want to say this because you're looking to leverage some of these people down the line with your career, but fuck that.
But it's that thing. It's like, have you ever watched Entourage?
Bits of it.
Right. You know what Ari Gold's like?
Yeah.
How many things does he say that like, and I'm not saying every agent's like Ari Gold, but like you're basically hiring someone to be a ruthless, like faceless killer on your part. So you can be like, oh, no, he's just my agent, man. I don't do that shit, you know, and he gets to go in there and fucking, you know, like swing for you type of thing. And I don't know, like, because it is one of those things that's like, you don't want to do it yourself. And it's kind of become, that's like almost a standard.
I just feel like that's a accepted attitude in the music industry though, because I feel like in fitness, everyone would just be doing it for themselves. Like I know people like James Smith and probably Prime Train and Louis, they all have managers and stuff like that, but that's probably because they can't be asked.
Yeah. Oh, I know, and totally. And that's the thing. Like, management's a little bit different to the whole agent thing, and I guess it depends what it is you want to do. But you know, there are some bands that are self-managed, and there's like, you know, some bands that like. But it's just that whole thing. I think it's like difficult on the come up because, you know, it's like, especially in Australia, somewhere that's like so difficult to break and so condensed. Like, sorry, so like densely packed with like music, and you know, there's not that many like people to play to or gigs going, you know, like you're always going to be in competition for stuff. Like I think it's like do you want to be sending your own emails from like some nameless guy? Like, do you want to be building your agent, your fake self agent name at the same time as you're building your band's name? Or do you want to get someone who's got a name and a reputation and connections already established to come in and be like, I'll get you these gigs quite easily?
I mean, the key is just to be right, working in the industry, but then also happen to be in a band.
Well, that's what I mean. But like, it didn't, like, it would have taken him a long time to get to a point where he could have actually been influential in these things. And fuck, man, had an agent like while was in the band, he wasn't booking their shit. They played to fucking no one for a long time. Like, that's their deal. They just like grinded it out to the point of ridiculous, like for years and years and years. So again, I think a lot of it's based off that. But
how long would they have been around for?
Oh man, fucking, like I'd say like at least 10 years, I'd say.
Oh wow.
Like yeah, like apparently they were just fully playing, like relentlessly touring, playing the shittest gigs.
Fuck.
Like, the kind of places people be like, oh fuck that, I'm not playing there.
I just don't know if I could have ever stomached that.
Man,
one lap of the country playing to no one was enough for me.
I think it'd be a bit different if it was like, I think once you get into the habit of doing it relentlessly and doing it better, and you know, just kind of being like, I don't know, I think it almost gets like, oh, I don't know how to put it, but I think if you're getting better, and you know, but I think you got to love it. That's the other thing about this. I think you really have to love it. And like, I think that's almost, I don't know, people complain about musicians not getting paid enough, and it's correct, but I think the upshot of it is that like, there's no fucking chance you'd do it unless you really loved it now.
Yeah, I'm always sort of torn with that because like society definitely needs the arts, but then it's like, especially when you're on the come up, it's just like, does society need this? Like, as you're just sitting there ready to go out and play a gig, but then I don't know, I guess it's just all in pursuit of the dream.
Well, exactly. And you know, just because you're not fucking massive or you're not written anything that good today doesn't mean you won't have done like next year, next week, like whatever, you know, like, and like, you know, it's probably all well and good, like, for you to sit there and be like, the society need this, but like, say a year down the track, you write a couple songs, they go huge, and people seem to need it, then all of a sudden you're like, well, I guess people do need it.
I think the biggest thing as a resident of Wollongong that makes you question the funding of the arts is just always going to be that palm tree we have hanging sideways in the sky down here.
Oh,
so for anyone who's not familiar with the Wollongong law, I don't know when they decided to hang this palm tree up, but our local council essentially funded an arts project, $500,000 Australian dollars, and all they did was cable tie a palm tree up in the air sideways, which it's still alive, which I think that's, is it? Or is it a fake palm tree? It has to be fake, right?
I've actually never thought about that, but it's in like
conspiracy number 2 to look into and investigate. Is the Wollongong palm tree suspended in the sky actually a real palm tree?
It's got like a big like base on it though, so I wonder if it's.
Well, I imagine they netted some soil around it, and maybe someone goes up in a cherry picker and just moistens it every couple of weeks.
That's kind of what I mean. And like, surely palm trees can survive off not much water because they're like.
Still skeptical that or is it the same tree? Do you reckon they've like replaced it in secrecy? No, because people comment on it dying. For sure, there's someone who's made it a big part of their identity to just monitor that tree.
I think so. That's probably where most of the.
I think like some sort of retiree with a Facebook page, just like live updates of the Wollongong palm tree. Let me steer this episode back on track. So we're going to get into, that was pretty much our 2023 wrap up, or Jacob accomplished his goals. I didn't accomplish a bunch of my goals, but I'll wear my failures. And like, honestly, I was just goal setting to give myself some motivation. I still made great progress with my training this year. It's just short on a few of them. I actually crushed the handstand PB goal. I think I was just aiming to get over 40 seconds, wasn't I? Or maybe like 35 seconds or something like that. Smashed it all the way out to 53. I didn't get enough attempts at my 100 meter to break my 100 meter goal, but then also didn't intend on doing my debut 200 meters. And I was really happy with my time in that of 25.77. So still got to find a way to shave 0.67 off my 100, but I think actually practicing in some blocks, sorting out my first couple of steps and just developing a bit more sprint fitness overall, that'll take me to that. Not that it's going to be a completely passive journey, but I'm still confident I can get there in Q1 of 2024. And then as far as the weightlifting side of things, I had like 13 attempts at 110 kilo hang snatch. And I know I said 110 kilo snatch, 140 kilo clean and jerk, but I didn't really care how I hit them. Like if I hit the clean off blocks, which I didn't manage to hit the jerk yet, but again, hopefully Q1 2024. And then same with the snatch. I honestly, I hate making, actually, no, what am I saying? Here I am making excuses. I do love making excuses. So let me make another one. I would have had a second attempt at that 110 kilo hang snatch if I didn't have to peak myself for a last minute track meet on the weekend. But then again, that was the only way I was going to get my 100 meter goal. So I feel like as I sort of, do my own therapy session about my 2023 physical goals live on this podcast, it was more the logistical aspects of it that I didn't plan around, which with my trademark bottoms up approach was always going to be an issue at some point. So maybe that's the lesson I'm taking training wise out of 2023, to be a little bit more top down. Even though requiring a top-down approach probably requires booking your track meets more than 3 days in advance.
Yeah, I also think this whole thing, because when did you start the GPP brand? That was 2023, right?
No,
22.
so it was mid-2022. But it really didn't that was really just the setup, 2022, whereas 2023 was the first true year of GPP.
Because that's what I was going to say, in that like I think realistically, you've only been really going hard on this GPP thing for like a year-ish. So like, I think this is just all part of you like adapting and learning to the whole fucking like training variously mantra. Like you set yourself goals and like went a bit all over the place with your, and like that potentially, like, I just think maybe your assessment of like, I don't know, like what goals were reasonable or how to go about them was kind of, you just need to adapt to that whole training variously thing and then maybe make your goals slightly more
static. Well, because that's the thing. The goals were all in a just permanent state of flux this year, where I was like, I'm just getting generally physically prepared, just loading this gun. Don't know where I'm going to fire it. Well, especially initially, it was just this balance between Olympic weightlifting and surfing. All my sort of objective goals were centered around that, whereas now it's diversified into a few other physical pursuits. Well, mainly just sprinting and then push, pull, run.
Yeah, push
Yeah.
pull run. Forgot about that.
Gearing up, the GPP clan is gearing up for an all-out assault on push-pull-run 3. Jacob is going to come in, 200-kilo deadlift, close to 100 bench. God knows what his mile time's going to be. You actually need to maintain your mile training, Jacob, because you've got to stay ahead of James Knoll, because James Knoll, another heavy boy who will be coming in hot. He's a one-to-one client, so not an explicit member of the GPP group plan community, but was my third ever online client, and he is a future candidate potentially for a meme maker for this company. So James has done 280 kilo deadlift and a sub 6-minute mile.
Jesus.
And you can bench at least 120. I'm sure he'll be benching at least 130 by the time push pull run comes around. He hates benching. So he's getting into some benching, but he does dips with like 40, 50 kilos added body weight for like sets of 5 and stuff like that. So should be able to offer up something pretty damn competitive. I need to get my own Briggs formula so I can start running some hypothetical numbers on him versus Buzz. Jamie Buzz, obviously the champion of push pull run 2.
I think he'll probably beat him because
we just got to get one person on the podium. And
his mile time I think is way better. No? What did Buzz
6
get?
minutes is good. So he's about 92. Buzz is 630. But then Buzz will bench a fair bit more than him, but then is 10 kilos heavier. But then James has him on the deadlift. But then James has also been pulling on a deadlift bar. So, but then he's pretty good off the floor anyway, so I don't think a stiff bar should affect him too much. Like, it always takes a little bit off everyone's numbers going back from the deadlift bar, but it should be, like I said, should be a big threat as long as he comes in healthy for push-pull run 3.
When is that?
April, I believe.
Oh,
right off the back of the GPP tour, so I should be training really good for that month heading into push-pull run 3.
Yeah.
Very, very excited for that. New Year's resolutions for 2024. Should we go through those?
Well, first of all, did you guys have any resolutions for 23 and did you stick to them?
No. I was meant to journal every day, which I didn't. I'm still big on journaling. It's just I've struggled with the consistency of it.
This was the first year that I had a resolution and kind of stuck to it, and it kind of improved my life a lot.
Was it no wanking?
Come on. That's not an improvement. No, I was like, I'm going to get way better and quicker at invoicing. And
hell yeah.
I fucking did. Like, obviously it wasn't like every single fucking time I had to send one was it sent the next day, but like, yeah, it was fucking, I was so much more on it. And yeah, my life's a lot better.
Do you use Xero?
No, do I fuck? I just fucking make it myself.
You got to get in Xero.
Yeah, I've never looked into it. I probably should, but I don't know. Either I actually have a bunch I need to do though. I've kind of fallen off the wagon, but
speak of the devil, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, got a bunch. But yeah, that was the first.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't had an invoice from you for a while.
Yeah, totally. You don't pay.
I'm retracting your New Year's resolution. I've been asking you for like the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, like since I got back from the UK, it's fallen off a bit.
All right, so your 2023 ended as soon as you hopped on a plane about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
No, I like that you actually had a New Year's resolution prepared for the show.
And actually, I was invoicing places that I gigged in the UK while I was there, so I kind of stayed on it.
Semi-consistent.
Yeah, and like honestly, like my invoicing before was fucking dreadful, and yeah, 2023 I was so much more on it.
There you go. If you're a local music booker, or if you're me, look out for some sexy and well-organized invoices from your boy Harvey.
They're coming.
Well, and you've kind of got your 2024 resolution built into this podcast a little bit because you want to get back into the producing for other podcasts a little bit.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I wanna establish way more of like just like a income stream from that, and I just want to be able to work from wherever the fuck I want. You know,
it's the best.
And I feel like podcasting, and I also just actually really love the producing thing. Like, I actually really enjoy it. I was literally sitting there editing an episode which will be dropping tomorrow. I was editing it last night, and I was just like, fuck no, I actually really like this. And I know it sounds really fucking nerdy, and I swear editing is like the one thing that everyone's like, fuck that. But I was sitting there just like, I don't know, like just trying to, solve problems on it and like clip it up and shit. And I was like, fuck, this is actually a lot of fun.
Well, there's so many people capable of having a decent yak in the fitness industry, but just like need a little bit of polish, or they just never do a podcast because they have no idea how to distribute it. So if you're thinking about making a foray into podcasting in 2023 or 2024, hit up Harvey and he can either help you, like I said, if you want him to take over the logistics of producing the whole thing and distribution, or just if you want to book in a consult or something like that and have him explain to you how to get your podcast set up. He's been very helpful for us and a number of other fitness podcasts as well. Not it's just limited to fitness podcasts, but just assuming this audience. I hate to pretend to be a mind reader out there. I'm assuming if podcasts will be probably fitness based in one way or another.
That's what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to like get like a website and all that shit and get a bit more, I don't know, like official looking about it. But if if anyone does want to hit me up, my Instagram is in the show notes. It's Matt Harvey with 2 V's, MattHarvvey. Because some fuckers got Matt Harvey with 1 V and they haven't used it in about it for fucking years.
Oh, really?
Anyway, yeah, they're just doing nothing with it.
It's all right. Maybe when you get big time enough, you'll be able to purchase it off them.
Let's hope so. Jacob, what are you doing?
Well, for this year, wanted to lose a bit of weight, which I ended up doing a bit, pretty good, down 9 kilos. Mid goal was the dunking, and we got that done. And yeah, that was pretty much about it. But for this year, I definitely want to increase the amount of content I do across all levels. And definitely want to increase my bench. Hit a bit over 100 because my numbers are quite bad. And I also want to be consistently dunking in game.
That's got to be a bit of it. Unless your name's Jake Tura or Tim Briley, I don't know of many people with a solid bench who can dunk.
Yeah, true. Well, what's the correlation of having not having a solid bench? Like, what is the effect between the two?
It's just a random. Long
true.
arms helps you heat. Like I said, if you have a good bench and just like a ridiculous vert, like you could be doing it with short arms in theory, but like most people who are tall enough to have a shot at dunking in any sort of reasonable time frame, going to be benching for a lot of years.
Yeah. And that's probably about it. But the main one's definitely the content. Definitely want to get into content that I really enjoy making for both my personal and the GPP page. And yeah, that'd be about it, I'd say. Yeah.
When did you start making content really consistently and regularly for the GPP page? I feel like we discussed this and we worked out it was sort of when I was in doing the US leg.
Yeah, I believe so.
This time last year.
Yeah.
So you've basically been making content consistently for a year. When you have a look at other people's first year of content creation, you absolutely crush them. Like obviously we're lucky enough to have a platform with a little bit of momentum, but still, very good opening year.
Yeah, thank you. And I definitely want to get into bit more of the educational content as well for the page, and come up with stuff that I'm happy to make and not sort of like got to make this, which I never really felt that much, but more of a like less of a chore, more something I enjoy.
I think that's the thing though, like the level of creativity you need to achieve to make content creation an actual engaging and joyous like actual process, because a lot of people aren't capable of stimulating creativity enough to come up with like ideas that then get them excited to make content. Like they can grind out ideas, fuck, I just guess I'll do a post about this for today. But you're right. If you can be more creative, have more ideas, there's a higher likelihood of you having a topic each day where you're like, oh, this is actually genuinely exciting. I'm excited to show up and talk about this.
Yeah, definitely. And I think about also trying to reflect myself into the content as much as possible, because I feel like people can sort of tell like when you're trying to sort of play to a meta, play to something else, and sort of making content actually that I would enjoy and look back and go, you know what, this is something that I like me personally. Because if I try to appeal to everyone, I'll never be getting anywhere, in my opinion. So looking at content from the point of being like, this is sick on my end first. I know it sounds quite simple, like everyone does that, but I got a feeling like people also do it for others as well. But yeah.
No, because I've had posts where I've sort of pandered to the audience a little bit and then it hasn't done well in the algorithm, and nothing hurts more than that. Whereas even if the post bombs a little bit in the algorithm, be like, no, was genuinely excited to talk about this. I can handle it so much more. Whereas being inauthentic and getting slammed by the algorithm, no wonder most people quit content
It's a
creation,
double
because
whammy.
it's just that over and over and over again.
Mm.
I'm looking
Yeah.
at 6 busy males who are looking to get in the shape of their life this summer. And then
Yeah,
fall off the
just-
wagon again and then chat to me next year.
Oh, must hurt him inside. Yeah.
All right, good goals. Excited to see how it pans out. I'm pretty confident we're going to have an absolutely blazing 2024 on the content front. Get that GPP page over
I
25,000
think there's
followers.
something to be said for that as well, and that like I think subconsciously people can people can feel if you're actually engaged in what you're saying or if you're pandering to the audience a bit. And I think they can I think they just engage with it and resonate with it way more if they can kind of subconsciously feel your passion for it, if you're you actually care about what you're saying.
The most cringe thing about adult life is you realize how many cringe cliches are actually incredibly true.
Yeah.
Be authentic. It is true. It underpins everything. And for some people, being authentic is not posting, because it's like everyone can tell you hate content creation. When you post bombs, you're bitching about the algorithm. So it's like, well, you don't have to. I think there's the online thing, huge potential upside. But my whole business is online these days. But I think too many people are chasing it when they don't think of the realities of running an e-commerce business. And there are people who don't post a lot of content who have a pumping online roster, but it's more people who are heavily involved in sports and they're very present in the community, showing up at meets. And there's just because they're traveling around to all these different meets, that's where they're meeting their potential clients. And then obviously just getting them to hit them up via Instagram and stuff like that. And that's why it becomes an online coaching relationship. But unless you're involved in one sport really heavily, it's like you better posting content. Otherwise, look to make a face-to-face business.
Yeah.
Like Oscar does it. I still don't know if I'm out earning Oscar. I make good money.
Yeah.
It's also just that way where I don't know about you guys, but if I didn't think there was professional gain to be had by having social media, I think I'd probably fucking binned it all. If it was just my personal life, I think I'd have fucked it all.
I think there's people who can't bring themselves to give up on it and just have a personal Instagram page. Like I said, but then maybe, like I said, maybe I'm sure to some extent, even if you're just working in a face-to-face context, it's good to have a presence in the sense that I guess even people you're meeting on the gym floor, especially if you're not putting the heavy on them there and just just follow me on Instagram or something like that. Or they might even stalk you out on Instagram and be like, okay, what's this person really about? They seem to make a good first impression, but I just want to see a little bit more about what they know. So yeah, I guess no, look, there is obviously a role for having a business account for any sort of fitness professional. But like I said, I just think there's some people that are sort of living in a little bit of delusion with how much of their business they want to be centered around the online thing and then how much content or attention they're capable of getting.
It's just, see whenever I meet someone and they're it turns out they don't have social media, I'm like, oh, that sounds fucking liberating.
Really? Wow.
I'm constantly just oh, that sounds lovely.
Probably has a lot of free time.
Probably has a lot of free time and a lot less general fucking anxiety and things. But I don't know. I remember
it's not like not having Facebook, whereas there was a brief period where people who didn't have Facebook just stopped getting invited to things when everything was a Facebook event. But seeing as Instagram doesn't have an event thing and neither does TikTok, I feel like that's more fizzled out and people are back to old school communication for that.
Yeah, no, totally. And even I remember a friend of mine was telling me a while ago that they got some app and it basically let you post to Instagram and then I think still see people's likes and comments or whatever, but you weren't allowed to scroll on it. It stopped you scrolling basically.
Is that Hootsuite?
And isn't that a Twitter thing?
Hootsuite was the one that we used briefly with the maze to try to post across 5 different socials simultaneously.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the idea of this app was literally to stop you doom scrolling. That was the idea. So it's
oh wait, can you explain it again? Sorry.
So basically, you can post to Instagram. You can still see people's likes on your shit and see people's comments or whatever. I think you can see comments, but you can't just go on your feed. You can't just scroll.
Oh wow, yeah.
You can only post.
Sounds pretty good if you're doom scrolling.
I'm so bad. I literally wake up immediately and I'm like, what are people saying about Angus today? And like,
How's this going to shape my
people are
day?
like, you're not meant to start your day with social media. But I'm like, yeah, but is your Instagram firing like mine? Because honestly, like most of the time, it's a good start to the day. I'm like, fuck, likes are rolling in, getting some good comments. Someday, I would say 1 in every 30 days, it's a mistake. Usually because of some shit I've said that someone's then clapped back to. Like I've attracted some silly fools into my comment section. But
Here's the question: does it actually not ruin your day, but sort of like this is not started well? Like
it does because like I don't know. I don't want to speak for anyone else running an online business off the back of a social media presence. But when my Instagram account isn't going good, I look at that as the same way if you owned a gym and you looked out at your gym, you're like, where are all the members? Because at the end of the day, that's where most of my business comes from. And people say that you shouldn't let your interaction and stuff dictate, your feelings and just how you feel about your day and stuff like that. But like, that is one of my key business metrics. Like they say you shouldn't just because it is volatile, but my business, that's just the nature of it nowadays. It's more volatile than it was when it was a face-to-face business, just because I had such regular clients. And like, obviously that's something that I try to adapt over to my e-commerce model, but just by the nature of algorithm-driven promotion, it's just the way it is. So I do let it affect me, but I also don't think it's that toxic because when my socials aren't going well, it should be a time to reflect for me. But then what I have realized is that I can stave off a lot of the negative aspects of it just by diversifying. So I don't have to worry about how the Instagram algorithm's doing, because the Instagram algorithm about 2 months ago got a lot harder. Like everyone's interaction went down like 20 to, or some people almost went down by like 50%. Some people haven't lost that much at all. I probably lost like 10 to 15%, but then things have been trending back up. I feel like I've got been changing up the content a little bit as well, trying new formats and things like that. But a big thing for me to reduce some of the anxiety and my reliance on Instagram is getting back into the podcast and just diversifying things across a few more platforms. One, because it keeps the content thing fresh. Like I really enjoy doing the podcast and I'm annoyed that I fell off the wagon with it just because I was so focused on other aspects of business just for that 6-month period. But it's a big reason why we're pushing it again, just because I know I wouldn't give a single fuck how my Instagram account was going if we're getting 30,000 downloads a week on a month on the podcast. Yeah. Would not give a shit. And same if I had a YouTube channel where I was getting like 2,000 views on a video the day it dropped. Wouldn't give a fuck how my Instagram is going. Again, all of that collectively, like you still have to keep all those plates spinning, but that's sort of just how I'm looking at managing things going forward. Even from the perspective of, I think about, it's naive to think that Instagram is definitely going to be going strong for another 10 years. I'm not saying it won't. Like I think there's a good chance Instagram could be around for the next 30 years and absolutely thriving. But I'm not hedging my entire business model on that. Like, again, because I do catastrophize, I always like to think worst case scenario, just so I'm prepared for it, because I guess to give you a sort of feeling of control over it.
No, absolutely. And I've always kind of thought this. Like, I think anyone who, I think to hedge your bets on something like a platform anyway is like, fucking not great anyway. But I think especially social media wise, like name me any social media platform that has been going as strong, or has remained one of the fucking core ones like the whole time.
How long was Facebook the leading platform for? Like what sort of period was that? Where like if someone had given you a choice between, okay, so you can have a MySpace with 100,000 friends interacting, or you can have a Facebook with 100,000 followers, or you can have an Instagram account with 100,000 followers on it. Like, when do you think it tipped over? Like, how many years? It was a while ago now. And
I know when the end was, like, but not the start.
The end of Facebook?
Yeah, I think it was probably a couple of years ago, or last year, or 2 years ago.
No, it had to be way before that. I felt like Facebook started to die off just as James Smith. I feel like James Smith was that transitional period because he was always super content focused in terms of developing his business. And when he came to my gym, that George Street Fitness First, I don't remember what year it was, but Facebook was his primary focus. And Facebook was really pushing the Facebook Lives. That was a really, really good way to build your following and gain trust with your followers and stuff. But then it was honestly within a year of that Instagram definitely became the primary way to develop at least a fitness business.
Yeah, all I'm saying is because there's a lot of people that used, because they turned into a sort of a Twitch live streaming platform after, and that's where a lot of people, and they had pretty good
back to it.
Yeah, they had really good splits for like streamers when creating content, but then after that, it's gone to shit now. So and that's probably the only reason why I'd say I'd extend the time period that way.
But that's why I'm skeptical of the Snapchat boom and that revenue split, because I'm like, how sustainable of a business model is that? Because it sort of seems like there's a pattern. And I'm glad you brought this up because there's a pattern of social media platforms falling off and then just having this brief resurgence because they just start doing a crazy revenue split. Like algorithms always start out really, really good, really, really chronological, everyone getting a lot of reach, a good revenue split. Over time, revenue split deteriorates and the reach gets worse, but then they have this almost apology. We're like, no, we'll split the revenue heaps good and we'll make the reach a little bit better, because James Smith was also someone who was like pretty keen to talk about, at least up until a couple of years ago, like, hey, don't forget about your Facebook, especially for business who are after that like 40 plus demo, which is a lot of fit pros. Like I've had people come through my mentorship and they're like, where should I be posting? I'm like, what age is the average client? They're like 40 to 60. I'm like, consider Facebook. Everyone says it's a dead platform, but like at the end of the day, like what they're meaning is the youth isn't getting on it. Like what most popular brands are trying to market to isn't necessarily growing there, but like that old demographic that so many people are after, it's just there for the taking on Facebook, and it's 100%. A lot less competitive of a place.
I think the boomers are just getting used to it as well, and I think the big part of Facebook is the whole community side of it. Like if you're a trainer in a certain area of, let's say, Melbourne,
for it as well.
There's so much, like so many potential clients just sitting there waiting to be taken there, because they're all so present on that page. I definitely feel it. Yeah,
and I think and that's it too. Like I'm not suggesting that Facebook is like not relevant or dead or whatever, but like it's just it's changed, and it's definitely not like the like coolest or the primary one anymore. And like I don't know, I think that's it. I think Facebook has survived a lot because of like it's got the most infrastructure. Do you know what I mean? Like even within Facebook, like
you have to have your Facebook account to log into your Instagram account.
Well, that too, and even just like marketplace events. Like
marketplace, I forgot about that.
It's done well to go into a legacy era. Like that's one thing I will say, because once your app starts sliding, just from the history of observing these things, it seems like it is difficult to stop it falling off a cliff. And I think people still relying on Snapchat to send nudes was huge for the platform before they thought of this revenue split idea. And I think things like marketplace and groups were huge for Facebook's legacy phase.
Totally. And even I think even Facebook, like even the messenger side of it, which I don't know if they really meant it to be as big as it was, but I feel like even just that part of it is, just huge for them. And again, it's just more infrastructure.
Because Instagram messaging has been getting better, but just off the fact that they're implementing a lot of the features that already existed off Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, but also, are they owned by the same people?
No, they are. Yeah, it's all Meta.
Totally. But that too, and I think even if you are looking at these platforms and you're like, there is no reason why this one should die off, this one, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're correct. But like, if you look at it throughout time, like the biggest ones, like MySpace kind of died. Vine kind of died. Like,
no, MySpace dead. Vine dead. Like these are the first generation of social media apps to experience genuine periods of decline and not completely go to shit. And by that, I mean Facebook and Snapchat. Like I can't identify another platform that actually successfully slid into a legacy phase. I'm not even sure if I'm using the right sort of term here, but that's how I describe it.
Totally. But I think even if...
Because in the same sense, I see Facebook, I don't see it going away anytime soon, but I don't see it growing at all.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely on a plateau. Because I think...
Because the metaverse, you're dreaming. You're
Nah.
dreaming.
Yeah.
Third of the world doesn't have access to the fucking internet. I mean, like, I don't even know if our internet here in Australia is quick enough for the metaverse.
No,
amen.
that's at least on my side. But going back to the original question, I do think the biggest one had to have been Twitter.
Oh, true. Yeah, keep
Well,
forgetting about Twitter.
That's what I was gonna say. Was like I think of all of them, like even if you're looking at a platform, you're like, no, I think this is great. I can see the progression of it. I can see how it's gonna get bigger and better. Why people are gonna love it. It's like something fucked might happen. Like
Elon Musk might buy it.
Like,
no, this is what I think about. Like, what if Elon buys Instagram and just shags it a little bit? Like, renames it to. So, can someone explain to me? It used to be Twitter and you used to tweet on it. Now it's called X. Do you call them kisses?
Oh, bang.
Like, what's.
Damn.
You do an X?
That up, Jacob. That's gonna go huge.
Wow. I wish I didn't react like that so we could have made a good clip. But
Angus sent you a little kiss, little 140 character kiss.
And little XX.
XX.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Elon, stop trying to be sexy. You're not a sexy guy. You're a tech guy. Just embrace that you're in a troglodyte.
But also, like, I mean, have you seen his kids' names? Is anyone surprised he was?
Yeah, what the fuck? It's like some internet password you'd use.
Yeah, but doesn't he dead name his kid that transitioned? And then he's just like, no, stop calling it Twitter. It's offensive, guys. I put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah. It's so hard. I think this is going to be the hardest one to shake off, like the previous name. People still say, I tweeted Twitter. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've still got the Twitter app on my phone because I haven't updated. Great, I haven't logged into Twitter. I'm not, because I'm not sure how you guys viewed it. I was a little bit relieved because I was talking so much about going on a Twitter campaign, and then the platform destabilized with the Elon purchase briefly, or even if it didn't, because I don't know how much that was just people talking about the platform going to shit. I wasn't there to witness it, and I wasn't that familiar with the Twitter environment, so that could have all been talk. But that was enough for me to sort of pause on that campaign, and then Threads popped up, and I was like, this could be sick. In the sense that it was sort of giving me diversity on another platform, but then it's like, it's not really, because it's so a part of the Instagram app. But then Threads kind of died. People got over that because, again, what did Twitter do? They started doing a crazy revenue split. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they did. The monetization.
The death rattle of every platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I say that, like, I think it actually successfully bounced it back over Threads. Or did it not? I don't. Every time I briefly switch over to the Threads app, all I see are threads on how do we feel about this over Twitter, and everyone still seems really confused.
Yeah.
Or people whose grid content on Instagram does shit, and they're just like, I just like the conversations over here. You know, I just feel like it's so authentic, and like getting 3 likes, like good creators getting like 3 likes on Threads. Sorry, not that. Like I've seen people who get like 20,000 likes on a post, and a good thread for them will get like 200 likes. And I talk about it all the time. Like interaction isn't always everything, but like it's a bit. It's
a big difference, that's for sure.
Twitter seems like a low interaction platform. Like a lot of people are just watching. Like
and the thing is, with their monetization model, it's about impressions. So you can have like 300 likes, but have like 3 million impressions, and you still get paid for those impressions.
Right. That makes sense, I guess, because it is ultimately the advertiser just cares like, is someone watching this? Like eyeballs on it.
And because like there's a lot of hated accounts on Twitter now with all this live streaming, where I talked about in a previous episode, that they're making these outlandish tweets, getting like barely any likes, but so many impressions. So, and they're still laughing to the bank because they're still making money, regardless of if it's hateful or not. But it's not really honest work, really.
Make AI generated content of Neon debating Andrew Tate and just post clips of our AI curated rage bait content. Let's pivot out of fitness. Is that viable?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the youngins are doing now. They're doing the most clipping podcasts.
Oh, man,
we need someone like that for us.
Gonna get hectic. No. Like, our shit's good. I was just sort of, I was making a joke because I've had moments where, because I'm always really proud of like the humor and stuff that we put out there Like I think educational content's really good, but then also a lot of the memes, I'm like, fuck, this is really good. Like, whereas then you have a look at the biggest meme pages and they have to post more basic jokes just because you're trying to appeal to a wider audience.
Yeah.
Like the same way the biggest comedian, like who is it? I always use him as an example. Kevin Hart. His comedy is so fucking basic. But again, it just appeals to, I wouldn't say lowest common denominator, but it's like, it's not going to offend everyone. You don't have to have finished high school to understand the jokes or anything like that. And I've just been like, man, we've been successful making edgy, actually funny jokes. I wonder if we just made the most basic
I
fitness
couldn't do it.
human-based content. Me either. No, it'd be soul destroying because you'd be crapping out these memes. I'm usually laughing when I'm making a meme.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
be laughing as you're making your own shit. But then you would also have to sell like fat loss programs because if you're appealing to that broad of an audience, again,
Yeah.
what's the thing that everyone's more than likely to buy? So just make super basic fitness memes and then you just plug some cheap 6-week challenge. I've always been like, I feel like I could run that business model, just not interested in it whatsoever.
No, I wouldn't be engaging. You wouldn't want to wake up and do that for sure. But I feel like I'd much rather have lower interaction, but highly engaged interaction and actually make someone chuckle pretty hard.
Like
or a
that
few
RPE
people.
meme.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
we actually found a good balance of appealing to a pretty big audience and still farming haha reacts. So yeah.
Honestly, I hate to actually no, we all know I love to pat myself on the back publicly. And you too as well, Jay. But like I just feel like we absolutely smashed it out of the park.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, you ever get jealous of someone else's content? Like, fuck, I wish I made that. Like, I think, that could have realistically been one of my ideas, but they got to it first. Whereas I look back through all our content, I'm like, we got the best page in town.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, very proud of that.
Speaking of your pages, what's this competition that I saw you talking about?
Oh, right. Yeah. So again, one of the things we're looking to, improve the sense of community, but then also friendly competition within the GPP community. We're having monthly challenges for our members. So as I said in the ad for it, could be strength, skill-based, conditioning, or mobility-based. So the challenge for January, we've got 2 different divisions. There's the biggest front squat PB, and then there's the biggest front squat by dots formula. So because like this particular cycle, there's not a huge emphasis on squats, but we've had a lot of people hitting squat PBs with this dose. And again, for some people, it is just actually hitting PBs, and some people are just beginning a front squat journey. So I just thought having 2 different prizes for this one would be good. Whereas next month, it might just be one prize for like the sickest back bend progression or something like that. Or I'm not sure. I think next one might be a bit more skills based, or February we might go into an Olympic lifting one, which is sort of a smooth segue out of the front squats into something a little bit more skills based. And then maybe March we'll do something mobility or conditioning focused, or like extra skills focused. But yeah, so you get $150 Australian for the biggest front squat PB. And this is not testing at the start of the month and then at the end of the month, which honesty system. Hopefully you have some footage of it. But again, if you're in the community, generally everyone's pretty trustworthy in there. So just however big of a PB you hit, or like I said, if you just think you have a big front squat in ratio to your body weight, we'll plug it into the dots formula and we'll see who takes that out. So heaps excited for that one. I'm just keen to see. I love how many people in the program already compete in sports on weekends and things like that, like ultra marathons, jiu-jitsu competitions, surfing competitions, a lot of people running it for their strength sports off season or doing field sports or something like that. But just one so that everyone in there can have something to compete in as well. I thought that would be really cool as well.
Yeah, and also give a bit of a direction to the members, I feel like, as well, because
that's it as well. Because as much as we all just hammer all the qualities year round, it's nice just to have more mental intent every now and then. Like you'll just have set a personal intention. It's like, okay, the program's not changing, but I'm showing the fuck up for squats this week.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what I'm trying to draw out of the program with some of these competitions as well.
Yeah, sick. That's
just the nature of GPP. Like it's always in the program, but inevitably you're going to be pushing something harder just because you're vibing with it at the moment, or you feel like you're close to a milestone PR. And other things you just be doing, because you're like, oh yeah, I love training variously, but this isn't the quality that I'm really chasing as hard as possible right now. And like I said, it can be explicitly programmed, or it more can just be based off intention as well, I think.
Sure.
Biopsychosocial, allostatic system. You know what I'm saying?
Is this
Go with the times.
is this something you've wanted to do for a while, or did it just
Yeah,
kind of come to you?
Been stewing on a page. And the big thing for me, again, fucking cliches, but like community is everything. Like it's just, it's so much fun when I write the program. I love writing my own training, but it's even more fun just being like, oh, like over 100 people are going to go through this. Like, how can I give everyone the best training experience possible? And then just thinking about a program and a community that I'd be excited personally to be a part of, even if I wasn't running the thing. And I would love that. Just training variously. And then coach is like, all right, fucking program's not changing, but push your front squats. Like it is going to be interesting to see how many people are overshooting all their front squat sets for the next month or couple of weeks. But yeah, I thought it would be fun. And so, the challenges will probably, a lot of it will just be what I'm excited to push for that month, but then I'll also be looking for things like in the community that people seem to have been more excited about lately. Like monkey press for sure will be one of the monthly challenges, because even without me doing that as an official challenge, there were so many people excited about hitting monkey press PBs and posting those all over social media. So it'd be good for promotion. It'd be good to strengthen the bond within the community. It'll be great to identify high performers and people that have been getting sick results with the program. And there's so many things about it. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is going to be sick.
Yeah. No, cool.
I was even a bit with the prizes. I was like, I feel like the cash prize is the best thing to do. Like I was thinking about, if you win a monthly challenge, you get a year subscription, or if you win the monthly challenge, I'll buy you $150 worth of training gear. But I'm like, just give them the cash.
Flat out money, yeah.
Training gear, they buy the training gear. If they want to put it into the subscription, they can buy a year subscription. If they want to, they can just go to the pub and spend it on piss to celebrate their win.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I like cash is obviously, it's literally the universal currency. But I feel like down the line as well.
I should have been Bitcoin. Fuck.
Maybe this is something we can discuss off air, but I feel like down the line as well, it's like if we're getting sponsors on, we can possibly be like,
oh,
you know what I mean? Like be like the sponsor can fucking, I don't know if like,
yeah, that could be cool.
If fucking Foot Locker sponsors, it can be like $150 at Foot Locker, or like, we can be like
Rebel Sport.
This competition is sponsored by, or the monthly GPP competition is sponsored by whoever,
Nike, you have my email. It's in my Instagram link tree. Hit me up. Talk to me.
But yeah, no, I feel for now the cash works. Cash works fucking great.
Yeah, so keen to see where that goes. But yeah, so one of the contenders, I've already sort of looking out for his attempt, Owen Walsh. He's been in the program for well over a year now. Pretty sure he power cleans above 150. So squats huge. He's posted 200 kilo back squats before and stuff like that, and just huge lifts across the board, 110 power snatches and stuff like that. So really excited to see what he puts up in terms of total weight. But again, it is adjusted to body weight with that DOTS formula. So to be, and that's the thing, his lifts are even good, even as a body weight ratio. But it'd be interesting to see if anyone can contend with him. And then I'm guessing we're introducing so many people to front squatting through the GPP program that I'd say that it'll probably be someone who's pretty new to front squatting who'll take out the PR division, but excited to see how hard someone manages to PR in a single month as well.
Fucking A.
Be interesting to see.